Welcome to bLU Talks.
All right, we're live, we're back. The audience is here. And of course, with bLU Talks, we love to be able to take the people that are part of our community with something incredible to share and share them with you even further. This is my great friend, Rosalyn, it's such a pleasure as always to see you, my dear. Thank you so much for bouncing up on this stage. And of course, you and I have known each other for years. So I'm going to softball this one into you to begin with, just so you can tell. First, the audience here and in the future. If you're in the future, pay attention. Rosalyn, how did you get to sitting in this chair today? Everybody's got an origin story, like a hero and a villain. Everybody's got a place they started from. What led you down the path to where you're sitting at today? But let's start with the past. Where did you start from and get to becoming the person you are now?
Yeah, thank you. So, my goodness, I guess we'll take it back to 2008, where I looked like I had the perfect life on the outside. I had just started private practice as a psychologist. I was a second-degree black belt in karate and a role model to kids, teens, and adults. And I was newlywed to my still husband, Dan, of 2 years at that point. And so I had made it. I had achieved all these goals. And yet deep inside, I still felt like something was missing, Mitch. You know, no one could ever tell on the outside. I was happy, like on the surface, but something felt missing. So I decided to compete in a bodybuilding competition. And I thought, unconsciously, I'm about 25 at this point. Hey, if I have this perfect body, then maybe finally I'll truly be happy. And so I came in last place in this competition. And it devastated me because I was like, how could I have worked so hard and fail? Like really fail. And so I had a breakdown that led me to a breakthrough. And I was doing my own inner work through this approach called Haikomi. And it means, how do I stand in relationship with myself and how do I stand in relationship with others? So it brings together psychology, neuroscience, and this thing called spirituality. And so it's very deep subconscious work. And I learned that I was operating from this belief that I am valued in my doingness rather than my beingness. And my doingness was never enough. And I was like, oh, no wonder I'm a perfectionist and overachiever in this mentality of no pain, no gain. And so that was when I started to come home to myself, learn how to be perfectly imperfect and really value who I am as a person.
That segues to transforming into who you are now. But you said a number of things that are quite telling. Not being enough. And you broke down. So from what you just said, you said to yourself, this isn't enough. So I'm going to do something entirely brand new to try and validate that I can do something else. Work my ass off to get there, fail, and then break down again. Those catalysts had to be there before. How long do you think you were thinking this isn't enough, or I'm not enough, or this isn't the right spot for me to be into, to set you on the path of martial arts and therapy to bodybuilding is not a direct correlating bridge. I don't care who you are. So what were those connectors, those drivers? Because you have to have found them now.
Well, that's a phenomenal question. You know, and I think I'm a very passionate person. So all of these things, I'm still driven by passion. And on the outside, it might look the same. Like I still love bodybuilding. I still love, you know, that kind of lifestyle and being healthy. I still love healthy competition. But instead of coming from this place of I'm not enough and I need to keep proving my worth, it now comes from I am enough and what else can I create in this world? What else is available to create so I can create even more impact? And it comes from this place of purpose of, now I've turned that pain to helping others really embrace who they authentically are, and they can create life and business from that place of who they really are and have what they desire.
So I find it interesting because catalyzers, things that cause a spark and then drag everything together. But to get that, you have to be under a pressure. You have to be under an enormous amount of pressure, and it takes time. So it's not enough just for the moment of inspiration. When did Rosalyn being inspired to change who she was turn into, this is the path I'm on? Because that's a very different decision. So many people spend so much time going, I got to do something different. And then they just kind of flash like fireworks.
Honestly, it was that moment when I like had that realization that my value was in my doingness. I'm like, whoa. And it's part of my Chinese culture, right? If you're not a doctor, you're not an engineer, you're not of some sort of title with status, you're not enough. Like, that's the message that you're getting. And when I realized this, I was like, wow, that's bullshit. And I'm not going to live that way anymore. There's a new way to be. I don't have to be living in that. It was so profound. And the work was so profound on me that I got certified in Haikomi, which is still an approach I use today with my leadership clients. And then that led me to become the first psychologist in Alberta to create an online program in 2015. And that was a lot of red tape. It was like, And I was like, no, I want to create more impacts. I'm going to figure it out legally and ethically. And that's what happened. And more doors opened. I got my first international speaking gig, in a magazine cover. And, Mitch, I wasn't super intuitive at this point, compared to how intuitive I am now. And you know that feeling when you're like, okay, something bigger is happening because there's more doors opening. It's like giving me stages and spotlights of like getting my message out there. And this was no longer about proving my worth. It was really about spreading my message and changing lives. And that's what matters so much to me.
Some more that I heard there, which I think is valuable for our audience, past, present, and future, however this translates, is it's not just about making a decision on change, is you were, emotionally invested. You were fairly technical, fairly clinical.
Yes.
Fairly almost, one might say, brutal in your approach. You kept the things and stuff you'd built to get to a certain point as part of that foundation. You just take hammer and shatter it all. When did you decide that that's who you were, and then this is who I am? Because there's an awful lot of change that happens into there. And when was the epiphanal, this is who I am now moment?
Again, I think it still goes back to that awareness, like, oh, wait, I can be valued in who I am? Like, I don't have to do anything to prove my worth? What? So it was like this freedom, like, oh my gosh, everybody needs to know this. Oh my gosh. And then, I realized I'm a bit of a trailblazer. So it was like defying my culture even. And so it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to push some boundaries. Even being like a psychologist, it's very much in a box, and just, okay, I'll stretch the boundaries by, doing this online program. And that just, okay, it's doable. It's possible. So what else is possible? And I really realized, like, this is like who I am I am a trailblazer. And this was a catalyst. These were the things that was like, okay, there's more possibility. This is hilarious. So I don't actually look no one guesses that I'm Chinese. Everyone always thinks I'm Filipino or I'm Hawaiian or I'm half Asian, half white. So even I'm like, let's take a DNA test because maybe some hanky-panky happened in the generations above. I don't know, right? And so
it takes a lot of people to pile down to you.
My DNA test actually said I'm 100% Asian, like not even 0.1 anything else. I'm Southeast Asian, 100%. I'm like, what? My husband is Caucasian. So I'm like, am I the first in my family to break this chain?
You crossed the line entirely, right? You were, yeah.
Right? So it's like even in my DNA that I'm a trailblazer. And so it's just something that I get very, like, I think it's just that innovation. I love taking things that I've learned, learning. If I could be paid to be a student for life, yes, please. And then I always like to take my own ideas or other things I learn from different areas and then take them together and then create something from there.
If you had to quantify, and again, I always use practical terms when, so the audience has to forgive the very direct.
This is probably good.
Yeah, probably good. Self-learning, self-teaching, drivers, passion, these are emblematic. These are parts that ooze out of you while you're sitting here on stage. What's the one that's your superpower? I'm going to make you pick one, right? Superman and Wonder Woman have a whole bunch of different things. They can fly, they're bulletproof, and they're super strong. And you can categorize dozens and dozens of these different things that they break down, and the nerddom and the fantasy lovers can extemporize, for decades on the differences and the nuances and subtleties. I'm going to make you pick one.
One. Okay. I would say my intuition.
Ooh, okay.
My intuition to be able to see when somebody is talking about, their problem or their challenges. I can see what it's really about, because often the presenting problems are not really the problem. So business problems, leadership problems, and challenges are not really what is being presented. There's something deeper underneath. And so part of it is I'm able to tune in intuitively, see what that is. But because of my training in psychology, I'm able to also see what's inner child stuff as well.
Yes. Yeah. How do you find that manifests everywhere in life? I mean, you've gone down this path almost like a runaway train for a moment, and
in a good way, right?
Absolutely, but you carry it everywhere, professionally, personally, intimately, in engagements and interaction with your children, with everybody you see. What are the constant aha moments thanks to this superpower that you get to see and experience every day?
I would say that people often feel seen.
Yeah.
And heard by me, because I'm just really listening. I love people. I'm so curious about their stories. In fact, one of my favorite questions is, how did you get started in your business? Or where are you from? And tell me a little bit more about your upbringing. I'm very fascinated by people and just who they are and how they become who they are.
Yeah.
And so wherever I go, even in my soccer community, people really feel seen. They're like, you bring the energy and you really bring people together. And it's because I really understand and see people as who they are. And I'm like, oh, you guys, and I'll just start connecting stories with each other. So I think there's like a double whammy, if you will, double goodness.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I'm driving towards a point, because what you've just said as well for everybody that's here is not a very common trait. In fact, regardless of gender or ethnicity, the number of times that somebody can receive even a off-the-cuff comment, reward, acknowledgement, etc., very rare in the current world. So you are deliberate in doing that to people. That has to come from somewhere else as well. When was the first time you recognized a mentor, a friend, somebody close did that and realized that that's part of what you're going to give to others?
Oh, geez, that's a really good question, Mitch. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. As you even ask me that, I can't think of anyone, interestingly enough. I honestly feel like one of my gifts is curiosity. Like, I'm too nosy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it makes people a little bit uncomfortable because I'm so comfortable with uncomfortable conversations. And I'm just honestly really, really curious. And so I think it's just more of a natural way of being for me. I love learning. I love learning about people. I love people watching. I love, wanting to understand how is it that they are who they are. Or like, I used to be a marriage and family therapist.
Yeah.
And understanding, like, how is it that you two connected in the first place? Like, to me, it's like really understanding the origin story.
Yes.
and being fascinated by that. I'm able to pick out people's strengths really easily because of that as well.
It's an uncommon gift to give to other people because so much of our ego is tied up. That has to be a regular daily practice for you professionally. So what's different between how you got started and today as you practice in business? Because this is the part where we go, here's what I do, right?
Yeah.
Here's our origin. Here's some makeup about us. Here's the things that we think are creative and unique that pool together to create the entity that is Rosalyn. And how do you manifest that? Because we gotta get paid, we gotta get laid, right? We gotta live our lives, so we gotta build intimate relationships, and we have to have work and conduct business, etc. And you said a million times this is part of your profession. What does that look like on a day-to-day basis?
You know, as you asked me that question, one thing that came through was I wasn't always this open because the perfectionist, right? Like the ego was there. And when I realized, like, the more I share about myself, the more open and vulnerable I am. That's what invites the other person to feel so open. I mean, the first time I meet people on a one-on-one, they start opening up. They're like, I'm sorry, I don't usually share this much. I'm like, that's all good. Like, this is amazing. Thank you so much for trusting me. So it's creating that safety. And I think back to that point, it's about creating safety everywhere I go.
There we go.
Right. This talk I did this morning on the 7 proven secrets to leading high performance teams that win. Psychological safety is so important. And it's a huge part of my mission to help leaders and team members create that foundation of psychological safety, feeling like they're living on purpose, feeling inspired, and connection. The connection piece is really important.
Your life is constructed of, for lack of a better term, teams. We have a team in the form of our family. We have a team in the form of our intimate partnership. We have a team in the form of our business and our professional and the financial people that make up parts of the disparate entities in our life. What do you look for in good teammates?
Trust.
Ooh, there you go.
Vulnerability. Positivity. Love.
There you go.
Just that sense. You know me, I'm like a super huggy person. You guys, if I haven't hugged you yet, I'm coming for you, okay?
She will come off the stage at you.
Yeah. It's almost weird, like when I have to be so formal and shake people's hands, which I know some people don't like the hug, so I will do that. But I'm just like, oh my gosh, my heart just gets lit up with love. And I think that's one thing that people do feel that from me, that energy. Everywhere I go, I'll just literally, my kids and I are sitting at a restaurant, and all of a sudden the people beside us in the booth, they're all of a sudden talking to us. And my kids are like, Mom, like, how do you make friends everywhere you go? And it's because it's the vibration of love. Like, people are just very magnetized to that vibration. And we all are so available for that. Just letting go of the ego, being more open.
We've got just less than 2 minutes left to talk. You drop stone dead tomorrow. What is the lesson that everyone needs to take forward? They build statues to you. They build edifices.
Wow.
They argue about you endlessly into the future. They conduct wars in your name. What's the lesson that they need to take forward from the day after tomorrow?
Love yourself first. Then there will be no wars because you're not projecting your shit onto other people. Right? The most important relationship is the one with yourself and the one with a higher power. And when we get right relationship with ourselves, we get into the right use of power, which is higher concepts of consciousness, love, care, compassion, empathy. And when we operate this way in the world, we just see with the eyes of love.
Roz, I love you too.
I love you, Mitch.
How do they get a hold of you?
So I'm everywhere on socials, rosalynfung.com. My business partners and I also have flourishingworkplace.com. And If you Google me, you'll find me.
Mm.
LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Oh, hell yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mitch.
Incredible Rosalyn Fung.